Welcome to Brainwaves, where we explore the depths of the human mind and all things spooky. Today, we'll be taking a look at some of the spookiest urban legends from around the world. These are stories that have been passed down from generation to generation, captivating the imaginations of those who hear them. Urban legends are tales of horror and mystery that are nearly impossible to prove or disprove, making them all the more terrifying. From Bloody Mary to the Vanishing Hitchhiker, these stories have been scaring people for years. Join us as we delve into the world of urban legends. The origins of the Bloody Mary legend remain a mystery, but it has been traced back to the Elizabethan era. It is rumored that the legend started as a way to scare young girls away from vanity practices. In those days, women were warned that the use of cosmetics, particularly the rouge called Spanish red, which contained lead, could cause skin problems and possibly even death. The legend of Bloody Mary warned that staring into a mirror for too long while using Spanish red could result in seeing a ghostly vision of a woman, who would then proceed to curse or kill you. This superstition was adapted into a more elaborate story over time, with the name, Bloody Mary, eventually being given to this haunting figure. The ritual to summon Bloody Mary has taken on many different forms over the years. In some versions, the person performing the ritual must stand in front of a mirror with a candle and say, "Bloody Mary," 3 times while spinning around. In other versions, the person must knock on the mirror 3 times, say the name 3 times, or say a specific phrase such as, "I believe in Mary Worth." Different countries and regions also have their own unique versions of the ritual. In Mexico, for example, the legend of La Llorona is similar to that of Bloody Mary, and the ritual involves repeating the phrase, "I believe in La Llorona." While most people believe that the Bloody Mary legend is just a spooky story that has been passed down through generations, some people have tried to explain the phenomenon using science. One theory is that the illusion of seeing a ghostly figure in the mirror is caused by the brain's sensory deprivation when looking into a dimly lit space. Another explanation is that the appearance of a terrifying image in the mirror is the result of the brain trying to find meaning in random patterns, which can create a face out of the reflection. Despite these scientific explanations, no one has been able to fully explain the phenomenon behind the Bloody Mary legend, and it remains a mystery. The origins of the hook-handed killer legend are murky, but it's believed that it first gained popularity in the late 1950s and early 1960s. Some people believe that it was based on a real-life killer named Carl Panzram, who had a hook hand and was known for his violent crimes in the early 20th century. Others speculate that the legend was inspired by a series of unsolved murders that took place in Texarkana in 1946, where the killer was known to have left hooks at the crime scene. Over time, the hook-handed killer legend has become one of the most enduring and frightening urban legends in American folklore. The story of the hook has been retold countless times with numerous variations. In some versions, the killer is an escaped mental patient or a prisoner who has lost his hand in an accident. In other versions, the victims are teenagers at a makeout point, rather than a couple parked in a car. Some versions have a more gruesome ending, with the killer murdering the couple rather than just leaving behind a hook. These variations have helped to keep the legend alive and made it a staple of modern horror storytelling. Many believe that the hook is simply an urban legend, conjured up to scare people. However, there have been real-life incidents that have been said to inspire the legend. In Texarkana, back in 1946, there was a series of unsolved murders committed by a man known as the Phantom Killer. He would attack couples parked in remote areas, and leave hooks at the scene of the crime as a calling card. This event became known as the Texarkana Moonlight Murders and was widely covered by the media. It's possible that this event ultimately inspired the legend of the hook, as it shared some similarities with the urban legend. The origins of the babysitter and the man upstairs legend are unclear, but it's believed to have originated in the 1950s or 1960s. The legend gained popularity in the 1970s, thanks to the publication of the book, The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs, by Jan Harold Brunvand. The story was also featured in urban legend collections and anthologies throughout the 1980s and 1990s. The story of a babysitter receiving threatening phone calls while alone in a remote home is a popular trope in horror movies, and The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs may have helped popularize this plot device. The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs legend has evolved over time and has been retold in many variations. Some versions have the babysitter working in a daycare center or a hospital, while others have her babysitting children who are not her own. Another variation involves the babysitter receiving threatening notes rather than phone calls, while others have the killer hiding in the house without making contact with the babysitter. Despite the variations in the legend, the basic premise remains the same. A babysitter is alone in a house with sleeping children when she receives a threatening message. While there is no direct evidence that the story of the babysitter and the man upstairs is based on a real-life incident, there have been similar cases that may have inspired the legend. In the 1950s and 1960s, there were several high-profile child murders in the United States, many of which involved strangers preying on children. These crimes led to widespread fear among parents and may have contributed to the popularity of the legend. The story of the babysitter and the man upstairs has been referenced in many pop culture mediums, including movies, TV shows, and music. Some examples include the 1979 horror movie, When a Stranger Calls, and the television series, American Horror Story, 1984. The origins of the black-eyed children urban legend are difficult to trace. The earliest known mention of these entities was in the late 1990s on an internet forum where people discussed paranormal encounters. From there, the legend began to spread and gain traction in popular culture. The earliest account of a supposed encounter with a black-eyed child came from a man named Brian Bethel in the 1990s. He claimed to have been approached by two children with black eyes who asked to be let into his car to go home. This story helped to establish the legend of the black-eyed children and to spark public interest in the phenomenon. Many people claim to have had a terrifying encounter with black-eyed children. These reported sightings typically follow a similar pattern. The witness is approached by one or more children with entirely black eyes, who are often wearing odd or outdated clothing. The children often seem to be in distress or need help, and they ask to be let inside a building or vehicle. Those who have reported encounters with black-eyed children often describe feeling an overwhelming sense of fear or dread. Many people who have encountered them describe feeling as though they were in the presence of something not human. Many theories have been put forward to explain the phenomenon of black-eyed children, but none have been proven definitively. Some people believe that the black-eyed children are the ghosts of children who died tragically, while others think they are aliens or even demons. Some researchers speculate that the phenomenon is a form of mass hysteria or a shared hallucination. Another theory posits that black-eyed children are the products of an internet meme or a modern-day urban legend that has taken on a life of its own. It's also possible that some reported sightings of black-eyed children are simply hoaxes or the result of misidentification. The origins of the Vanishing Hitchhiker urban legend can be traced back to the early 20th century. The story has roots in various cultures around the world, but the modern version of the legend is said to have originated in the United States in the 1930s. Some versions of the legend claim that the hitchhiker is a ghost of a person who died in a car accident on the same road where they are picked up, while others claim that there is no explanation for their appearance or disappearance. The legend grew in popularity in the 1950s and 1960s thanks to the advent of the automobile and the rise of car culture in the United States. The Vanishing Hitchhiker legend has undergone many variations over the years. Some versions of the story involve a friendly and helpful hitchhiker who disappears on arrival at their intended destination. In other versions, the hitchhiker is hostile or even malevolent, seeking revenge on their driver. Some versions of the story involve a crying hitchhiker who suddenly disappears from the car, while others feature a ghostly woman in white. There are also variations where the driver is warned of an impending disaster or death after encountering the hitchhiker. Despite these variations, the basic premise of the legend remains the same. A hitchhiker is picked up by a driver, disappears while en route or upon arrival, and is later revealed to be a ghost or apparition of some sort. Many theories have been put forward to explain the Vanishing Hitchhiker legend, but like many urban legends, it remains shrouded in mystery. One of the most common theories is that the hitchhiker is the ghost of someone who died tragically in a car accident on the same road where they are picked up. This theory is supported by the fact that many versions of the story involve the hitchhiker warning the driver of an impending danger on the road ahead. Other theories suggest that the legend arose as a cautionary tale about picking up strangers or as a way to explain the disappearance of real people who went missing while hitchhiking. Some believe that the legend is simply a form of urban folklore that has taken on a life of its own in popular culture. Ultimately, the true origins of the Vanishing Hitchhiker legend may never be known. And with that, we come to the end of our exploration into some of the spookiest urban legends from around the world. These stories are a testament to the power of our imagination and our fascination with the unknown. They remind us that even in today's modern world, there are still things that we cannot explain. Whether you believe in these tales or not, there's no denying that they make for some great storytelling. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into the world of urban legends. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries that surround us.